more than happy to assist anyone. We always do. In fact, we helped Jerry out. He just got a 7,000 DLE, and the guy who sold it to him, Chaz, K2BU, I think his call is, sold him that radio, and he set them all up. He set up his computer, everything, and he turned it on, and then we just did a little bit of tweaking here and there, which, yeah, we still have a little bit more to go, just to brighten him up a little bit. I mean, he can sound better than he does. He sounds good, but he can sound, can always sound better. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been so long. I don't remember your call. I just looked you up, Steve, and I remember that. I remember your website there. So it's pretty cool. It's good hearing you again, though. But as far as any other settings, that would be the settings that Chris is talking about are the 2496, the DEQ 2496 Behringer. That's if I didn't have somebody to help me set that up, forget it. And I've had that for a number of years, many years. I've had that device. I've never gotten rid of it. Been in and out of the hobby 3 times and never got rid of it. But yeah, absolutely, we would help anybody out. K2, K1, GMM, KX2 Victor.
Okay, KX2V. And Chris, I forgot your call because my brain is nothing but jello. And it's not even sweet, K1 GMM. One thing I noticed, because I'm looking at your signals and I'm looking at the scope on the pan adapter and on SDR console, how do you get that? Because that's something, I'm on the little 7300. You can get the bottom end. I know you can on the 7300, but I know you're out to 4K. I do understand that. But from a fundamental standpoint, how do you approach getting that really nice top end? Oh, sorry about that. My foot's slipping off the pedal. How do you get that really nice top end? There's like that, of course, like the 1.6 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz, 2.5. Once you get over 3 and up pushing, 3.5 out to 4, to get that EQ'd so the presence is there, but you start getting into that nice silkiness on the top, which, Joe, you have. I'm listening from 20 hertz all the way to 4 kilohertz right now. And it's really, it's like the best I've ever heard. And I'm looking at it on the scope, and it's fairly flat. Is it a microphone? I'm sure it's a microphone thing, right? But is that Behringer unit you're talking about, is that, and I have a 204 in line right now, so I'm familiar with the 204. But to get that really nice top end, it's tough. It either gets real garish, harsh sounding, but yours isn't. The only way I can describe it, it's like if you were to take a dry piece of cardboard and rip it in half and then kick a freaking bass drum at the same time. That's what it's beautiful. I know that's kind of a weird way to describe it, but that's the only thing I can think of. Go ahead, Chris.
Let me get this, Chris. Go ahead. All right, real quick. It's very simple. I've got a parametric EQ here, all right, on the Behringer, the 2496, and I've got a filter at 3515, 3515, an octave of 1, and a gain of 5.5. Okay, that's your top end. I mean, I can put a 4K filter. I can go up to 20K on this thing. That's what you're hearing, Steve. It has a lot to do with the EQ. I mean, the microphone, of course, helps, but a lot of it has to do with that equalizer. That's always been a mainstay here, Steve, the Behringer 2496.
Okay, very good. I got to readjust my foot pedal. It's scooting around on the floor. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry, dude. And thanks for helping me here. Go ahead.
No, Joe is exactly right. Now the tube preamplifier definitely is a wonderful thing. So you have that to make sure you get the proper level control. but it's the 24. I'm only using two pieces and an RE27. It's that Behringer. It's you know what? It's a parametric equalizer, which gives you a lot more control as opposed to the standard equalization that's built into a lot of the radios or people may use as outboard gear. I don't use any of that. Just a parametric equalizer.
Okay. All right. Here's a loaded question, and whenever someone asks me this, I say, "Well, what do you want to sound like?" Because I know I heard Joe say something like that, something similar before. Audio is so subjective, and I don't criticize people's audio. I know I know what sits in the kill box for me. What I really enjoy hearing, as far as the ESSB stuff, the voodoo stuff. And no, it's not for everybody. But if, like I said, I'm on a little 7300 rice burner here, which is limited. If you were going to fuss with something, what would you tell me to fuss with? That's why I asked about what you were listening through. What changes could I make right now? I have I'm using an ultra gain preamp, a 30 band ultra graph EQ, a Composer Pro XL compressor limiter, and a 204. That's what's in line. So go ahead and hit Joe with that one. If you're gonna have me tweak something, where would you point me to?
Yeah, Chris, did you record him?
I recorded him. He started to drop out a little bit. He got a little light, but I can play it back.
You sound pretty damn good, Steve, actually. Go on, Chris.
Yeah, Steve. The only thing is you're not gated correctly, so you have like undertone under your voice. But is that the way you're actually? It's not bad. I was just commenting for a 7300. It sounds pretty good. So here we go. A Composer Pro XL compressor limiter and a 204. That's what's in line. So go ahead and hit Joe with that one. If you're gonna have me tweak something, where would you point me to?
That was a very good representation of what you sound like, Steve. I think it sounds pretty good, actually.
Okay. Now, what are you... Yeah, see, that's the problem with the 7300. There's really none of that. There's that harsh top end that's there. I do have the 204. I suppose I could fuss with the harmonics a little bit more in the tune and the mix on the exciter end. I did fuss with it. It gets weird though on the 7300. There's only so much I can do. You can only push stuff with brute force on this radio to a point, and of course it doesn't have any effect. Sounds like, yeah. See, now here's the other issue I have is the gate. The gate is very wonky on this Composer. I don't like it. It pops. You know what I mean? I've fussed with it and fussed with it and fussed with it, and I have an amp running, and the microphone is a very hot mic, and if you listen close, you can hear the amp running, and you can probably even hear a rumble going because the amp is on the desk and the boom is mounted to the desk, and it does come in through the microphone. So I'm kind of screwed. I make a mess out of stuff. I'm wandering in the wilderness, Joe, K1GMM.
Yeah, Steve, I'm gated here. I have to be because of this microphone. I got an amplifier going. I got a fan on the anon. Plus, I got a squeaky chair. But this is gated as well. The 2496 has a gate in it, compressor limiter gate with it as well. So it's a pretty handy box there, Steve. But you just reminded me you're on an ICOM, so you're not going to get anything past 2.9. It's not going to happen. So there's the huge difference between the Flex, the Anon, and the Icon. Because I mean, I could go out even further, but that would just be more of a nuisance than I am already. So you gotta get a Flex, and then on that'll bring your highs out for sure. I mean, putting a 3.5 filter into the ICOM is futile because you're not going to get it out of it. You know what I mean? So that's in answer to your previous question. That's what you would have to do. I mean, the filter doesn't make a difference if you can't push the frequency. You know.
Yep, exactly. It's like a brick wall, man. What I did notice is I can push the bottom end out beyond 100, below 100, no problem on that one. But the top end, forget it, man. It's all done. Yeah. Let me take a sidestep here and let you guys continue on because I don't like hijacking things. I'll let you guys get back to what you were doing. And I'll just, I'm going to go up and grab another coffee and I'll come back down. Do have another quit. If I were to look, this is, I probably shouldn't even ask this, but are there any good places to look that I'm missing? I always check QTH. I check QRZ. I'm not a big fan of eBay. Those two places are pretty much the only places I look around for rigs. I would like to find like a 200D or something, or maybe a used Flex. If you were gonna, now I found here. Let me throw this at you, Chris. I've seen Flex 5000s around in the $700 range. That's an option as well. I know it's a Firewire system, which really doesn't bother me that much. But I don't know. What do you think of something like that? Maybe they're tough to find. They usually people snap them up. But, the Anons, I don't know. Is there a good place to look around? Because I've heard from other guys, too. They're like, yeah, well, good luck. Especially the Anons, I've heard that they don't break. That's something else I heard about the Anons. And that guys are like, and they, you just don't see them pop up all that often. And if you do, they don't last long. Go ahead, Chris. K1 GMM.
Well, if you're serious, then Joe told you that there are two different reasons, or two different types of SDRs, both accomplishing, fairly, similar. Of course, the Anon is pure signal, and it just for audiophile work, it's the one. I mean, until Flex comes out with something like that, I mean, the reign supreme is Anon, for audiophile work. The Flex, I think, does a good job. And the one thing the Flex has that the Anon just, never say never, but it becomes more difficult because all the processing is done by your computer. So remotability it's limited. And I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's a lot of hoops to jump through. If you want remotability out of your station and go anywhere at any time, take your cell phone out of your pocket and have the radio right on your cell phone. Take your iPad with the iOS software, which is outrageous. It's unbelievable how cool that iOS software is, and you control your entire station. So the Flex has remotability that's like it's out of this world. What they've done with the remotability. So there you go. The Flex is a lot more simple. It's a smart SDR, hence the name. It's basically you plug it in and turn it on, and you're on. There's not a lot of issues that you have to go through. The Anon is, settings galore. And a lot of people, they like to tweak, they like to do all different things, and the Anon offers all that and more. So
Burp.
It's two great choices, really, in the end. And, what I see that everybody that's really into it, which is going to be me too, you have both, not just have one. So the 6300, hands down, is the best way to go because you could still get them from Flex. directly with a 1-year warranty with the latest software. Forget the tuner. You don't need that because you're going to be using an amp, so you're not going to use that. So, yeah, definitely. By far, the 6300 is, if you're looking for something that has such versatility, remote ability, good audio, a really solid platform, the 6300 and the Flex. Now, if you're going to non, you need to go right to the one that Joe's using. Don't mess around with those earlier versions or you won't be satisfied.
Ew. Okay. I haven't heard. Yeah. Cool. I haven't looked at the 6300, so thanks for that. Which Anon are you on, Joe? Are you on the 7000 or something?
Yeah, 7,000 DLE. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's see. I'd want this more for audio. This. I really enjoy this type of stuff. I've kind of moved away from the DXing, and I really enjoy the rag chewing end of things. So, you know, what's the learning curve on the Anon? Is it? I am computer savvy, and I am recording the whole thing in OBS. And I'm going to push it to YouTube here when we're done. So you guys, if you wanted to go in and listen, you could do that. But a lot of my subscribers really enjoy this stuff. So I figured I'd go ahead and record it. Yeah, the Anon learning curve, Joe. For an average computer user, is it reasonable?
I did it. There you go.
I know just enough to be really dangerous.
Exactly. Steve, it's not that difficult. I mean, there's me, Chaz. Chaz is a whiz with the Anons. You got Mike and 2OYM. He's very good with it as well. There's several people out there. I mean, I'd be more than happy to guide you along. But you gotta figure out what you want to do. Go on, Chris. By the way, real quick, Steve, I got a file that I'm going to send to you. It's you on my Anon. It'll show you where you're. It's set up for 4K, the receive filter, and it's going to show you where you're at. You're doing a good job with the icon. There's no question. So it may take a little while to download, but here it goes. I'll be sending it over. KXTV, over to you, Steve. Chris, sorry, go on.
Well, while you're sending that file, I am on the Maestro, and we didn't mention that. Another phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal. I mean, I had a little trouble with it. I was not a happy camper, but I sent it back, and they fixed it. And so anyway, another really cool device. So let's. The Maestro does beautiful recording. So, but it's just a control for the radio. But somehow, when you're running the software on your computer, there can be some glitches with the recorder. But the Maestro is dead on every time. So let's listen back, Steve, and this will be a pretty good representation of how you are now. The only thing I told you that I detected, and I think your audio would be fantastic. It's just that you have this background noise, which a simple downward expansion or noise gate, should be able to take care of. Here we go.
Okay. Now, what are you... Yeah, see, that's the problem with the 7300. There's really none of that. There's that harsh top end that's there. I do have the 204. I suppose I could fuss with the harmonics a little bit more in the tune and the mix on the exciter end. I did fuss with it. It gets weird though on the 7300. There's only so much I can do. You can only push stuff with brute force on this radio to a point, and of course it doesn't have any effect. Sounds like
Got a good recording of them now.
Huh. Yeah, see, now, here's the other issue I have, is the gate. The gate is very wonky on this composer. I don't like it. It pops You know what I mean? I've fussed with it and fussed with it and fussed with it, and I have an amp running, and the microphone is a very hot mic, and
Check
if you
1 2
listen
check.
close, you can hear the amp running, and you can probably even hear a rumble going because.
Very cool. I just brought the gate in, so we'll see if that thing. Not sure where the. Yeah, and I did. This is something else I noticed. Let me make sure I'm not dribbling. Yeah, this is something I noticed. The outboard compression is very tricky. Right now, I'm running about a 2.5 to 1. The attack is slow in the release. I can't see it. I'm sorry. If I turn my head away from the microphone, my signal drops. But I'm running the gate now, and I'm not sure if you're hearing the popping. It's really annoying. I noticed with a compressor that I have to be careful with that because it will surge. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine when I'm talking, but the minute I stop talking, all of a sudden it will open back up, and then the floodgates open and the noise floor just goes through the roof, man. It's just ridiculous. And it doesn't seem to do that in the ICOM, but I don't like the compression in the ICOM. It really does. And there's no compression running in the ICOM right now. I just don't like the way it makes it sound. Over.
I'm just going to tell you, you just turned your whole station around, whatever you did. So, Joe, what do you think? Was that a huge difference?
Well, actually, I muted the radio because I had a phone call. I came back on, and I thought it was him talking. That was an awesome recording, but I wasn't really paying that close of attention to what you're saying. So I'd have to listen again.
Well, I can provide that. Now listen to how you sound. I don't care what you're hearing in your ears or whatever you're monitoring with. I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing that you have turned it around.
Yeah, this is something I noticed. The outboard compression is very tricky. Right
Not
now,
a good recording.
I'm running about a 2.5 to 1. The attack is slow in the release.
Something happened.
I can't see it. I'm sorry. If I turn my head away from the microphone, my signal drops. But I'm running the gate now, and I'm not sure if you're hearing the popping. It's really annoying. I noticed with a compressor that I have to be careful with that because it will surge. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine when I'm talking, but the minute I stop talking, all of a sudden it will open back up, and then the floodgates open, and the noise floor just goes through the roof, man. It's just ridiculous. And it doesn't seem to do that in the ICOM, but I don't like the compression in the ICOM. It really does. And there's no compression running in the ICOM.
All right, that was not good. Good recording, Chris.
Really?
Yeah, it was popping all over. Steve, you don't sound like that. The audio was okay, but it was just pop. There was all kinds of popping going on there for some reason there, Chris.
Oh, well, that's a first with the Maestro.
Yes, Steve, transmit again. I want to make sure that's not what I heard.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it was weird. It was this. It was like a popping flutter. Every time I'd talk, it was like that type of thing. And that's. I thought, and it's ironic because that's when I brought the gate on. So the gate's in line right now. And let me stop talking here. I'll stop right now, and the gate will close. Okay. So I don't know if you hear it popping when I start to talk again there, Joe.
No, that recording was horrible, actually. No disrespect, Chris, but something happened there. No, there was none of that popping, and he described it perfectly, Chris. It was popping. Yeah, it was messed up. Something wasn't right.
I think it was I removed this. I keep my cell phone right. I think maybe I stumbled onto something, but let me just play like 5 seconds of the recording again and tell me if it sounds different.
Yeah, this is something I noticed. The outboard compression is very tricky.
Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, that it was in there. It was definitely in there, Chris.
We're still doing it. All right, that's weird. Because when I listen, I'm listening with it at the same time with you guys. It sounds fantastic.
Play it. Go on, play it again.
Yeah, this is something I noticed. The outboard compression.
All right, I'll play that back.
Yeah, this is something I noticed. The outboard compression.
Yeah, there it is. It's that anomaly that I guess I thought the yeah, totally. It's that recording anomaly that the Flex has. I think it has something to do with version 3.
Your previous recordings were stellar. They were perfect. They really were. I mean, I got to give it to the Flex for as far as recording goes. There's no question. I don't know why the Anon doesn't record that well. It doesn't, nowhere near that.
Well, obviously the Flex has issues too. So, but when it's good, it's good.
It's good. It's great. Absolutely.
What are you guys running for power? Just out of curiosity. I think, Chris, are you on an alpha? You pushing an alpha right now? I don't know what you're doing, Joe. Joe, you're still, even right now as the band is, yeah, she's going to really tighten up here if she hasn't already. But that's a good path anyways. You're in, Joe, where are you at? Good Lord. Jersey? I think you're in New Jersey, right? And Chris is on Long Island? Yeah, 30 over, man. You guys are just crushing it.
I'm only running about 1150.
Legal limit, and we're using the same amplifier.
And 9500 all the way.
You know, I'm going to have to lose the skirt at some point and put my big boy pants on.
Got an 87A as a backup.
This old boat anchor, this thing is still going. I bought this thing for $200. I'm running about 400 right now. This old AL80A. Still got the original tube in it. I absolutely refuse to get rid of it until the thing goes up in smoke.
Hey, you're nice. You got it decent. I hear you perfectly fine. You're 10 over, so you're all good. With that, guys, I'm going to go take a break. Steve, 3844 in the evenings. We all get together. We try and have fun. So don't be a stranger. Chris, I'm sure I'll talk to you a little later on. Have a good day at work. I gotta run down to the Ford deal. I gotta drop off a key because there's a lock for my spare tire, and the key that fits the ignition doesn't fit that lock. So they gotta order me a new lock, crap like that. So I'm putting a new grill in.
Excuse me, guys.
Too, if it gets here on time. So
I'm
busy today, even though I'm not working right now today at least. So K1, I had to look at my paperwork here. K1 GMM, KZ2N. We'll catch you guys hopefully this evening. KX2 Victor.
K73 Joe, thanks for all the help there. Have a great one.
All right, take it easy, Joe. Hey, tell me if the recorder fixed itself. One more recording, just for like 10 seconds.
I absolutely refuse to get rid of it until the thing goes up in smoke.
Hey, you're nice. You got it decent. I hear you perfectly fine. You're 10 over, so. Yeah, that was fine. That was perfect. No problem there. That was a good one.
It's so weird how it does that, right?
Yeah, it's very odd.
Anyway, it does it whether it's it doesn't matter. I've had two flexes. I've had three flexes here in the past month or two, and every one of them does the same thing with version 3. So and I've on the reflector. Apparently, other folks have complained, and it's something going on. Whatever. Who knows? Version 4. Another $200. It'll be fixed.
There you go. All right, guys. We'll catch you later on. KX2 Victor.
Yeah, see ya. I'm going to run up and grab a coffee and I'll let you go as well, Chris. 3844, I think he said, right?
Yep. Give me one more recording, because you sound so much better now since you made those adjustments.
Okay. K1GMM. And I am actually, let me check my ALC is a little, hold on. My ALC is pushing a little too hard. I'm going to actually roll back. I'm going to roll back the compression just a little bit. And fortunately, there we go. 7300 is pretty forgiving on the ALC. Yeah, I don't know what you got planned for today. I know Joe's off and running. I got it's going to be nice, man. Supposed to be, I think it's 50, supposed to be what, in the low 50s up here in Vermont. So I'll be outside starting my spring cleanup, even though that's, we ain't close to spring yet up here, Chris. K1GMM.
All right, I'm going to do like 5 seconds. You tell me if it sounds normal, and then I'll play the whole thing.
Okay. K1GMM. And I am actually, let me check my ALC is a little.
Yeah, yep. It's working good, Chris.
All right, let's go with the whole thing.
Okay. K1GMM. And I am actually, let me check my ALC is a little. Hold on. My ALC is pushing a little too hard. I'm going to actually roll back. I'm going to roll back the compression just a little bit. And fortunately, there we go. 7300 is pretty forgiving on the ALC. Yeah, I don't know what you got planned for today. I know Joe's off and running. It's going to be nice, man. It's supposed to be, I think it's 50, supposed to be what, in the low 50s up here in Vermont. So I'll be outside starting my spring cleanup, even though that's we ain't close to spring yet up here, Chris. K1GMM.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it right when that's what I'm talking about. I rolled the compression back, and the bottom end, things actually got a little cleaner. I don't like the compressor on this thing. If I push the compressor too hard, the problem is it's such a hot setup that the dynamics get OTT, and you have to be very careful to, like right now I'm about 15, 16 inches away from the microphone. And if I get a little over enthusiastic, or I start yelling or getting all crazy, it'll blow the ALC right out of the front of the radio. I mean, it's, that's why I need a little bit of limiting in there. I'd prefer to go all limiting with no compression. You know what I mean? That would be the best scenario. But even just that little bit of compression, I can tell when I roll it back, it actually got better.
When you look at my signal on the scope, does it look pretty clean?
Go ahead and hit me again, Chris.
Well, no, I mean, you've been watching all along. That's the thing that I like about the Flex is you not only get to hear everything, you can see it.
Yes, and I'm looking at it. You have quite a bit of IMD, and I don't know where it's coming from. It's stretched out. It might have to do with the strength of the signal, but I didn't see it on Joe. When I put this to YouTube, you can see what it's doing. Let's see, you're 4K, so good Lord. I think it was stretched out to maybe easily twice that out on each side. Very clean. You'll hear it. Incredibly clean. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff on the outsides there.
Yeah, the stronger the signal, the more it is, that I've noticed. Where that's the thing about the Anon with that the adaptive free distortion. It definitely you can see the difference, no question. And so Flex, I think, possibly maybe working on something for that. I don't know that will be exactly like what the Anon uses, but I think they're working on software changes, and so who knows? They did a survey back over the summer, and I took the survey, and as everyone that owns them, did, and I think it was the number one thing at the top of the list, if not number one, number two, that's what people that are willing to pay $200 every time they come out with revisions. That's something that we want.
Yeah, I heard something through the grapevine about that. They were I'll tell you, it's really amazing. You wouldn't really notice it unless you were running some type of had some kind of visual reference, and unless you were in a QSO within half a K or 1K away or something like that, outside of the passband, then you may hear it with another radio. But the Anons, I can look at the pan adapter across the entire 75-meter band, and I know who's on an Anon immediately when I look at it. I mean, it is sharp. There's virtually nothing happening outside of that set bandwidth. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I talked to a guy last night on 40 who was on you ever see these things? They're a Sun, what do they call them? Sun SDR. They're made by Expert, I think, right? The MB1, which was released, a year ago, Christmas, maybe something like that. That wasn't a bad sounding rig. That was pretty decent. Overpriced, in my opinion. I looked at the price tag on them and I almost fell out of my chair. Over.
Oh yeah. Well, you look for a used Anon. They're out there. They're a little bit tough to come by, here and there. But if you stay diligent, you'll pick one up. Hey, I got to start getting ready for work, so I'm going to have to cut you short. All right, Steve, this is KZ2N, and I got to say 7-3. I got to head to work. And, we're around down, I don't know, general or extra, but we're down, you must, obviously. We're down in the amateur, I guess, advanced portion of the band a lot of times at night. You're down around 37-15 or sometimes 27. So that's where we are in the evening hours, and there's a lot of guys down there that and you've spoken to over the years. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna take off. KZ2N 73, Steve.
Hey, Chris, much appreciated. Thanks for letting me in the door, and appreciate all the advice and sorry about the third degree, man, with all the questions, but I appreciate you taking the time. Have a great one. We'll catch you later, and yeah, I'll look for you down below. I probably sat there and listened to you, and it didn't even click that it was you guys. I gravitate to and your station. Yeah, if you want to hear what it sounds like, and again, I'm listening at 20 hertz to 4 kilohertz. All that audio is passing through, so if you get some time later, check my YouTube channel out. I'll have it titled, and it'll take a little bit for it to render because this is going to be fairly large, but it should be up within a couple hours. We'll catch you later. 7-3 KZ2N K1GMM. All the best. Okay. Kill it. That was a really nice QSO with John and Chris. 75 meters. Yeah. Off and running. Have a great day, everybody.